Assume it is done. Not tomorrow, not someday, not when conditions improve, but now, right now, in this very moment, the moment you decide to occupy a new state of being. Because the moment you assume something to be true within yourself, reality has no choice but to rearrange itself to match that assumption. Life is not responding to your wishes, it is responding to your self-concept. It is responding to who you are being when no one is watching, to what you accept as true when the world is silent. Most people are waiting for proof, waiting for signs, waiting for permission. But the truth is, the waiting itself is the barrier. The law of life does not respond to waiting, it responds to assumption. It responds to certainty. It responds to the quiet, knowing that something is already accomplished in consciousness. When you assume it is done, you are no longer asking life to give you something. You are simply allowing life to reflect what you have already accepted as real. You see, creation does not begin on the outside. It never has. Everything you experience outwardly is first imagined inwardly. The world you see is not the cause, it is the effect. The mirror does not change first. The reflection follows the one who stands before it, and yet most people spend their entire lives arguing with the reflection, trying to force the mirror to smile before they smile themselves. Act as if. This phrase is not pretending, it is not denial, it is alignment. Acting as if means you move, think, feel, and respond from the end. It means you stop rehearsing the problem and start living from the solution. It means you no longer ask, when will it happen? Because that question belongs to the one who doubts. Instead, you say inwardly, it is already so, and you let that knowing shape your reactions. When you assume something is done, you naturally think different thoughts. You make different choices. You speak with a different tone. You walk with a different posture. Not because you are forcing yourself to, but because your inner state has shifted. And when the state shifts, behavior follows effortlessly. This is why effort fails and assumption succeeds. Effort tries to change the world. Assumption changes the self. The reason many affirmations fail is because they are spoken from a state of lack. The lips may say one thing, but the feeling underneath says another. The feeling is what impresses reality. Feeling is the language of creation, not emotion, but conviction, not excitement, but knowing, the calm certainty that something is already yours. When you feel it real, you have planted a seed that must grow. Understand this deeply. Reality does not test you to see if you deserve your desire. Reality simply reflects what you believe to be true about yourself. If you believe you are chosen, life will confirm it. If you believe you are overlooked, life will echo that too. The world is not judging you, it is obeying you. Most people live from the outside in. They say, if I see it, then I'll believe it. But the law works the opposite way. You must believe it to see it. You must occupy the state first. You must claim the identity before the evidence appears. The evidence always comes last. When you assume it is done, you are stepping into a different version of yourself, a version who no longer chases, no longer begs, no longer waits. This version moves with inner authority. This version does not need validation because they are already validated within. And when you become this version internally, the world will reorganize to match you. Think about this. Every role you play in life began with an assumption. You assumed the role of who you are today, and life faithfully reflected it. The same law that brought you here will take you wherever you dare to assume yourself to be. There are no limits except the limits of assumption. Do not worry about the how. The how is not your responsibility. When you assume the end, the means reveal themselves naturally. Opportunities appear. Conversations happen. Doors open without force. You are not meant to struggle your way into fulfillment. You are meant to accept it inwardly and let life handle the details. Act as if the desire is already fulfilled, and notice how your inner dialogue changes. Notice how fear loses its grip. Notice how urgency dissolves. When you know something is done, you are not anxious about it. You are calm. You are grounded. You are patient without trying to be patient. That calmness is power. Many people think faith is blind belief. It is not. Faith is loyalty to an unseen reality. It is the ability to remain faithful to an inner assumption even when the senses deny it. The senses will always lag behind consciousness. If you allow appearances to dictate your inner state, you will remain trapped in repetition. But if you allow your inner state to dictate how you interpret appearances, you will break free. The world may show you the opposite of what you assume at first. This is not failure, this is adjustment. Reality is reorganizing. Old patterns are dissolving. Do not react. Reaction is agreement. When you react emotionally to what you don't want, you reinforce it. Instead, remain inwardly loyal to your assumption. Let the old story fade. Act as if means you no longer ask people to treat you differently. You assume a new self who naturally receives different treatment. You no longer hope for abundance. You think like someone who expects it. You no longer wait to be loved. You carry yourself as one who is already valued. The world takes its cues from you. Understand this, your assumption is your command. Every assumption is an instruction given to life, and life never questions the instruction, it simply executes it. Whether the assumption is conscious or unconscious, the result is the same. That is why awareness is power. Choose your assumptions deliberately. You do not need more techniques, you do not need more rituals, you need clarity of identity. Decide who you are being and remain faithful to that decision. The moment you decide, the process begins. The moment you persist, the outcome becomes inevitable. Persistence does not mean repeating words endlessly. It means returning to the feeling of certainty whenever doubt arises. It means gently but firmly refusing to identify with the old state. Doubt will come. Fear will whisper, let them pass. They have no creative power unless you accept them as truth. Assume it is done even when it feels uncomfortable, especially then. The discomfort is simply the old self dissolving. Growth always feels unfamiliar. But if you persist, the unfamiliar becomes natural, and the new state becomes home. You are not here to fix the world. You are here to select a state of consciousness. Once selected, the world must conform. This is law, not philosophy, not motivation, law. When you act as if, you are not lying to yourself, you are telling the deeper truth. The truth that imagination is reality's source. The truth that consciousness is the only cause. The truth that what you accept inwardly must express outwardly. There is no one to change but self. And when self changes, everything changes. Relationships shift. Circumstances rearrange. Opportunities align. Not because you forced them to, but because they had to. They had no alternative. Assume it is done and live from that assumption quietly. You do not need to announce it. You do not need to convince anyone. Reality will speak for you. Let your results make the noise. The moment you stop trying to get and start allowing yourself to have, everything accelerates. Desire fulfilled is not something you chase, it is something you accept. Acceptance is the key. Tonight, when you close your eyes, do not imagine becoming. Imagine being. Feel the relief of completion. Feel the calm of knowing. Let that feeling be your resting place. Return to it often. That is acting as if. And watch carefully. Reality will begin to shift in subtle ways. Small confirmations, unexpected movements. These are not coincidences. They are echoes of your assumption. Do not turn back. Do not question. Do not analyze. Remain faithful. The world has no choice. Assume it is done. Act as if, and watch reality change. Remain in that state as if it were the only truth that has ever existed. Let it permeate every thought, every breath, every moment of awareness. When you walk through the world carrying this certainty, notice how the ordinary begins to bend toward the extraordinary. Situations that once seemed immovable begin to soften. Opportunities that seemed hidden start to appear. People respond differently, not because you are demanding change, but because your inner state broadcasts a signal they cannot ignore. Every interaction, every event, every circumstance becomes a reflection of the self you have assumed to be. Do not be fooled by appearances. The world may at first resist, showing you the old patterns, tempting you to doubt, to question, to retreat into the familiar. This resistance is natural. It is the echo of the old self trying to maintain control. But your task is not to fight, not to manipulate, not to plead. Your task is to remain unwavering in the assumption. Hold the end firmly in consciousness, as if it were the air you breathe. Let nothing jar. Key your inner certainty. Acting as if is an art, a practice of consciousness. It requires attentiveness. You must watch your inner conversations, your judgments, your feelings, and gently redirect them to align with the state of the fulfilled desire. Every time you notice disbelief creeping in, return to the assumption. Every time fear whispers that it is not possible, return to the knowing that it is done. Your persistence is quiet but powerful. It is a loyalty to the unseen, a devotion to the reality that exists first within. Consider for a moment that every condition you have now, every limitation, every lack, has been formed by a prior assumption. And if that is true, then by the same law, new assumptions will produce new realities. There is no mystery. There is no magic outside of consciousness. What you imagine, you create. What you accept, you manifest. What you assume is true, life reflects. Do not be impatient. Do not measure by time. Time is irrelevant to the law. What matters is the fidelity of your inner state. The moment you assume it is done, the process begins. You may not see it immediately, but your reality has already responded. Your mind, your emotions, your body, your circumstances, each begins to align with the state of assumption. Nature itself is obedient to consciousness. Live in the end, as though the end has already arrived. Speak as though it is already true. Move as though you have always been there. Your actions will naturally reflect the fulfilled state. The world outside does not need to be forced into alignment. It will follow the one who is firmly established within. This is the silent power of assuming the end. Do not wait for evidence to convince you. Evidence always follows assumption. Those who wait for proof remain trapped in the old patterns, forever seeking confirmation that must come after, never before. But the wise understand that the creative force flows from within. What you feel and accept now is the seed from which all experience grows. Notice how your perception changes when you assume the end. The problems that seemed insurmountable appear smaller. The challenges that seemed threatening dissolve into opportunities. Your focus sharpens, your energy flows more freely, your confidence rises. All of this is natural. It is a reflection of your alignment with the state you have chosen to inhabit. Acting as if requires courage. It requires trust in the unseen. It requires a refusal to identify with what is temporary and outward. But in that courage, there is liberation. In that trust, there is freedom. You are no longer a victim of circumstance. You are no longer a slave to probability. You are a conscious creator, shaping reality from the inside out. Your inner world is your instrument. Your feelings, your thoughts, your beliefs are the strings, and when you play them in harmony with the fulfilled state, the symphony of your life unfolds. The melody is already composed. Your role is simply to attune yourself to it. Resist nothing, fear nothing, accept everything inwardly as though it has already been resolved. This is the essence of acting as if. Do not confuse patience with delay. Patience is the calm confidence in the unseen. Delay is the impatience of the senses. You may not see immediate results, but that does not matter. What matters is your alignment. What matters is the quiet, unshakable assumption that the desire is already accomplished. Hold it, live it, breathe it, let it saturate every cell of your being. Your imagination is the workshop of creation. When you imagine, you are not fantasizing, you are instructing reality. And when you assume it is done, you are not lying to yourself, you are communicating with the infinite intelligence that responds only to your inner state. Every thought, every feeling, every action in alignment with the fulfilled state sends a signal to life. And life, which can do nothing but obey consciousness, must respond. Even when doubts arise, do not despair. They are not enemies. They are the remnants of old beliefs, old identities, old states of being. Acknowledge them and gently return to the assumption. The mind may wander, the heart may question, the world may contradict, but your inner loyalty determines the outcome. It is not the external circumstances that shape reality, it is your unwavering inner conviction. Do not measure your progress by appearances. The inner reality is primary, the outer will follow in time. When you act as if, your external world becomes secondary. You live as if it is done, and this living changes everything. The world will bend, subtly at first, then more evidently, until it mirrors the state you inhabit. Act with confidence, move with certainty, speak with authority. Every gesture, every word, every thought that flows from the assumed end strengthens the signal you send. Your entire being becomes a transmitter of the reality you wish to experience. People, events, and circumstances respond to the strength of this signal, often without your conscious awareness. There is no need to manipulate, force, or control. Control belongs to the one who has not assumed the end. You who have assumed it allow. You allow life to unfold according to the assumption you have planted, and in that allowing, everything becomes easy, natural, and inevitable. Notice the subtle conformations, small synchronicities, unexpected assistance, sudden clarity. They are the markers of your inner state taking form. Do not dismiss them. Celebrate them. Recognize them as evidence that your assumption is being woven into the fabric of life. Each sign is a gentle reminder that the law is at work, that our reality is responding to consciousness. Do not hurry. Do not force. The process is natural, effortless, and unrelenting. Once the assumption is firmly planted and faithfully held, life cannot resist. The events, the people, the circumstances, the outcomes, they all conform. Your inner state dictates the rhythm, and the world dances to that rhythm without hesitation. Every moment you spend doubting, worrying, or wishing is a moment of misalignment. Every moment you return to the assumed state is a moment of creation. Make this your practice. Make this your habit. Make this your way of life. Assume it is done. Act as if. And let the unseen orchestrate the visible. The fulfillment of your desire is inevitable, not because of luck, chance, or effort, but because the assumption you have made within is absolute. Absolute assumption cannot fail. Absolute assumption commands obedience. Absolute assumption transforms reality because it does not waver, it does not question, it does not negotiate. It simply exists, and existence must respond. Keep this awareness at the center of your mind. Let it influence how you speak, how you move, how you make decisions. Let it shape your relationships, your work, your health, your finances. Let it guide your daily choices, not as a theory, not as a hope, but as a certainty. When you inhabit this state fully, life will reflect it naturally. Remember, no one else needs to understand, approve, or validate. Their opinions, their doubts, their disbelief cannot alter the truth of your assumption. Your inner conviction is sovereign. Your consciousness is the creative power. The world outside is secondary. The universe itself bows to the one who has assumed the end. Feel it, live it, act from it, carry it into every interaction, every challenge, every dream. Let it saturate your being so completely that there is no question, no hesitation, no AP between desire and fulfillment. Let the state of having already achieved be your permanent dwelling. And as you continue to assume, continue to act, continue to persist. Notice how the invisible becomes visible, how the improbable becomes possible, how the walls that once constrained you dissolve, how the world rearranges itself naturally, effortlessly, and perfectly to match the reality you have assumed. The power of assuming the end is not just in achieving a goal, it is in the transformation of self. It is in the awakening to the truth that you are not a passive participant in life, but an active creator. It is in the realization that the only limits that exist are the limits you accept. And when you refuse to accept limitation, the universe has no choice but to conform. Remain loyal to the state you have assumed, through every challenge, every delay, every doubt. Your inner persistence is stronger than any outer obstacle. Your inner certainty is more powerful than any external evidence. The world outside is fluid. Your state within is the anchor. Carry this practice into every day, every hour, every breath. Return to the assumption whenever you drift. Refine it, strengthen it, embody it. Make it so natural that living from it feels as effortless as breathing. And in that effortless embodiment, reality cannot resist. It must conform. Notice the subtle shifts, new ideas, new people, new opportunities appearing in your life. Notice the confidence, the calm, the effortless flow. These are the signs that the law is at work. These are the markers of the invisible becoming visible. Every day, every hour, every thought, you are shaping your world by the power of your inner assumption. There is no need for struggle, no need for worry, no need for doubt. What is assumed is done. What is lived as true will manifest. What is embraced in consciousness will appear in our reality. Keep this truth at the center of your mind. Let it guide you, strengthen you, and inspire you. And as you continue, as you persist, as you live fully from the end, you will notice that not only does reality change, but so do you. You become the person who naturally experiences the reality you have assumed. Your life aligns with your inner state. Your outer world follows your inner vision. and you move through life effortlessly, gracefully, powerfully, and with unshakable certainty. Assume it is done, act as if, and let the invisible orchestrate the visible. Remain faithful to this principle, unwavering in your inner conviction, and reality will unfold as you have imagined it, perfectly, inevitably, and without resistance. Let your inner assumption color every moment of your life. From the instant you wake until the moment you sleep, let it be the lens through which you view the world. Every encounter becomes a reflection of the state you have assumed. Every event, no matter how mundane, carries the imprint of your consciousness. You do not wait for miracles, you live as though the miracle has already occurred. In this way, life itself becomes a continuous confirmation of your inner state. Notice the power of thought when it is disciplined, focused, and aligned with the end. Every idle worry, every negative conjecture, every fleeting doubt weakens the signal you are sending to reality. But when you bring your thoughts back to the assumption, when you feel the completion inwardly, the world must respond. This is not theory, it is law. The universe is obedient to consciousness. It does not negotiate, it does not debate, it simply mirrors what is dominant in your mind. Acting as if does not require outward evidence, it requires inward certainty. When you move through the world with the conviction of already having achieved your desire, your posture, your expressions, your words, all become imbued with that reality. You do not pretend, you live as if the end has been reached. People respond differently. Situations shift subtly, then more obviously. The world has no choice but to reflect the state you have assumed. Understand that the outer world is never the initiator, it is always the responder. Conditions, circumstances, events, and other people mirror the consciousness you carry. Therefore, do not seek to change the outer world through effort, argument, or persuasion. Seek only to change yourself. Change your assumptions, and the world changes automatically. It cannot resist. It must conform. There will be moments when doubt arises. There will be times when the senses seem to contradict your inner certainty. This is natural. It is the voice of the old self, the echo of previous beliefs that have not yet dissolved. But you are not required to answer these voices. Simply return to the assumption, return to the feeling of fulfillment, return to the state of having already received. The outer world may lag behind, but your inner state is sovereign. Feel the reality of your desire as if it is already manifested. Imagine the relief, the joy, the satisfaction, the gratitude, and allow these emotions to saturate your consciousness. The feeling is the key. The feeling is the signal. The feeling is what impresses reality. Words alone are powerless. Actions alone are powerless. Thoughts alone are powerless. But feeling as though it is done activates the creative law. Act as if you are already that person who has what you desire. Carry yourself with the dignity, the calm, and the authority of one who is already fulfilled. Speak from that state. Think from that state. Move from that state. The world responds naturally. People treat you differently. Opportunities arrive without effort. The invisible begins to manifest visibly. Do not allow impatience to weaken your assumption. The law is not concerned with your timeline. It is concerned only with the fidelity of your inner state. Be patient in the sense of trust, not delay. Trust that the assumption will unfold in time. Trust that life is reorganizing itself according to the law. Trust that the unseen has already accomplished what you imagine. Notice how your inner life begins to change. Your thoughts become more constructive. Your focus sharpens. Your energy flows more freely. Your confidence rises. Your mood stabilizes. You begin to notice opportunities where previously there seemed to be none. You find yourself taking actions naturally, effortlessly, and in alignment with the assumed state. This is the proof that the law is working. Even when others doubt, criticize, or contradict, remain unwavering. Their disbelief cannot affect the truth you have assumed within yourself. What matters is not what they perceive, but what you accept as real. Your consciousness is the creative center. The world outside obeys the law of consciousness, not the opinions of others. Stay faithful to your inner assumption, and the outer world will comply. Every challenge you encounter becomes an opportunity to strengthen the assumption. Every apparent obstacle is a chance to return to the state of having already received. Do not resist, do not despair, do not react with negativity. Simply maintain the inner state. Let the outer circumstances adjust to the strength of your inner conviction. The world is fluid, your inner state is immutable. Act as if in small ways every day, in conversations, in decisions, in how you carry yourself. Let the feeling of fulfillment influence your speech, your tone, your gestures. Let it shape the way you approach tasks, interact with others, and navigate the world. In these small, consistent acts, the assumption becomes embodied, and reality must follow. Notice how your relationships change as a result. People respond differently when they encounter someone who is secure, confident, and fulfilled inwardly. They are drawn to the energy of someone who lives from the end. Situations that once created tension now dissolve. Communications that were previously difficult become effortless. The outer world mirrors the inner state. Do not underestimate the power of consistency. The law does not work in fragments, it requires continuous alignment. Every time you return to the assumed state, you reinforce the signal to reality. Every time you maintain the feeling of fulfillment, you strengthen the creative current. The more faithfully you assume, the quicker and more complete the manifestation. Acting as if also frees you from fear. Fear arises when you focus on the gap between what is and what you desire. Acting as if closes that gap internally. When you feel as though it is done, fear loses its power. You are no longer anticipating or hoping, you are knowing. The world outside may still seem uncertain, but inwardly you are secure, and this security radiates outward, reshaping reality. Your imagination is the most powerful tool you possess. Do not squander it on doubts, worries, or limitations. Direct it deliberately, consistently, and vividly toward the fulfilled state. Imagine the end, feel it real, and live from it. This is not fantasy. It is the operation of a universal law. Your imagination is the workshop in which all reality is formed. Do not wait for external validation. External proof is always secondary. What matters is the fidelity of your inner assumption. If you hold the end firmly in mind and feel it as real, the external world cannot resist. It must conform. Evidence follows assumption. The world rearranges itself to match the inner state. Act as if with joy, with gratitude, with calm authority. Make it a natural expression of who you are being. Do not strain, do not force, do not overthink. The state of assumption is effortless because it is not an act. It is a state of being. The more you live from it, the more effortless it becomes until it saturates every aspect of your life. Notice how subtle signs begin to appear, the right people entering your life, ideas presenting themselves, doors opening unexpectedly. These are confirmations that the law is at work. Celebrate them, acknowledge them, and let them reinforce your inner assumption. Every confirmation strengthens the state and accelerates the manifestation. Do not cling to the old self or past patterns. They are remnants of former assumptions, but they have no power over the new state you occupy. Let the past dissolve naturally. Let old fears, limitations, and doubts fade. Your present and your future are created by what you assume now, not what you remember or what has occurred. Continue to act as if in all areas of life, your career, your relationships, your health, your finances, and your personal growth. Let the assumption guide your thoughts, decisions, and actions in every domain. The law works universally. It is not limited to one aspect of life. Wherever you apply the assumption, the results follow. Remain vigilant but not anxious. Watch your inner state carefully. Catch the moments when doubt arises and gently return to the assumption. Refine it, deepen it, and feel it more vividly. Each return strengthens the signal and the world responds. Persistence in assumption is more powerful than effort in the external world. Do not fear setbacks or apparent delays. These are not failures, they are opportunities to reinforce your inner state. Each challenge is a test of fidelity, not a judgment of possibility. Remain loyal to your assumption, and the outer world must eventually reflect the inner truth. Carry the feeling of fulfillment into every interaction. Let it color your conversations, your body language, your choices. Let it shape your mood, your energy, and your presence. The world responds to presence. When you radiate the reality of the fulfilled desire, the universe bends to support it. Remember, the power is within you. No external circumstance, no person, no condition can negate the state you assume. Consciousness is sovereign. Life is obedient to the state you occupy. The outer world follows the inner reality. Live in the end, feel it real, act from that state, and the law will unfold without fail. Let the assumption saturate every moment of your awareness, becoming the lens through which you perceive everything. When you meet challenges, do not shrink back. Stand firm in the state of fulfillment. Let your mind remain anchored in the reality you have assumed. Every thought that drifts toward doubt is an opportunity to return to certainty, to reinforce the assumption, to strengthen the signal that the universe obeys. The more unwavering you are inwardly, the quicker the outer world aligns. Notice how your energy shifts when you persist in assuming the end. Your mood stabilizes, your focus sharpens, your decisions become clear. You no longer react impulsively to external events. You act from a place of authority, from a place of knowing, from a place that carries the unmistakable certainty of fulfillment. This inner alignment radiates outward. People respond differently to you. Circumstances bend naturally. Opportunities arise effortlessly. Acting as if is not a superficial act, it is a transformation of identity. You are no longer the person who lacks, fears, or waits. You are the person who possesses, who is secure, who acts with quiet confidence. This identity, once assumed, permeates every thought, word, and action. The outer world, which mirrors consciousness, must adjust to the new state. It cannot resist. It obeys the internal command. Do not depend on external circumstances for proof. Evidence is always secondary. The law responds to consciousness first. The outer world will follow in time. By living from the end, by feeling the desire fulfilled, by assuming the state as already real, you activate forces beyond ordinary comprehension. Synchronicities begin to occur. People appear in your life unexpectedly. Opportunities that seemed impossible align perfectly. Even in the face of apparent contradictions, remain steadfast. The senses may show delay, the world may appear contrary, but do not yield to appearances. The world outside is never the master. It is the reflection of the inner state. If your inner world is loyal to the assumption, the outer world must conform. Patience, in the sense of inner confidence and trust, is key. Do not rush or manipulate. Allow the law to act through you. Feel the fulfillment fully. Do not simply think it, live it. Imagine the joy, the relief, the satisfaction, the gratitude as though it has already arrived. Let these feelings dominate your consciousness. The strength of the inner experience impresses reality. Words alone, actions alone, thoughts alone are insufficient. Feeling as though it is done is what communicates to the creative principle. Act from this state in every aspect of life. Let it guide your words, your tone, your gestures, your decisions. Let it shape your posture, your movements, your habits. The world responds naturally to the state you occupy. People, situations, circumstances, and opportunities all mirror the inner reality. The more consistent you are, the more absolute the alignment, the quicker the manifestation. Notice the subtle confirmations that arise, unexpected help, timely ideas, sudden clarity. These are not coincidences. They are evidence that the law is at work. They confirm the power of your assumption. Celebrate them. Let them reinforce your inner state. Every confirmation strengthens the signal, accelerating the unfolding of your desire into the visible world. Do not cling to old patterns or identities. The past is irrelevant to the law of consciousness. What you assume now in the present moment creates your future. The remnants of former doubts or fears have no power unless you give them power. Let the old fade and embrace fully the state of having already achieved your desire. Continue acting as if in every area of life, relationships, career, health, finances, personal growth. The law is universal. Whatever state you occupy internally will manifest externally. The outer world conforms. Act consistently, deliberately, and with unwavering inner loyalty. The more you practice, the more effortless it becomes, until living from the end is second nature. Be vigilant yet calm. Monitor your inner dialogue. Catch every drift toward doubt, fear, or lack, and return to the state of fulfillment. Refine it, strengthen it, embody it fully. Persistence in assumption outweighs any external effort. The world outside is secondary, your inner state is primary. Hold it firmly, let it guide you, and life aligns without resistance. Even apparent setbacks serve to deepen your practice. They are opportunities to return to the assumption, to strengthen the inner signal, to demonstrate faithfulness to the unseen. Remain unwavering. Trust that the world will mirror your inner reality. Do not react with negativity. Maintain the feeling of fulfillment. Let the outer circumstances adjust naturally to the state you occupy. Carry the energy of assumption into every interaction. Let it shape the way you communicate, move, and respond. Let it influence decisions, choices, and actions. The power of your inner state radiates outward, subtly shifting the world to match the reality you have assumed. The universe is obedient to consciousness. It responds to the dominant state you occupy. Remember, the power is within you. No circumstance, no person, no condition can override the state you assume. Consciousness is the creative force. Life is obedient to your inner reality. The outer world reflects what is primary, the state of mind and being you choose. Live in the end, feel it real, act as if, and the world will follow. Continue to inhabit the assumed state fully. Allow it to inform every decision, every gesture, every thought. The feeling of fulfillment becomes natural, effortless, and pervasive. The outer world, bound by the law, mirrors your inner state. Every subtle action, every word, every choice becomes a reinforcement of the reality you have assumed. Notice how the world begins to respond in increasingly obvious ways. Circumstances that were previously fixed now bend. Opportunities arise without effort. People respond differently. Situations shift naturally. This is the law in operation. It is not force, it is not persuasion, it is not effort. It is the natural obedience of reality to consciousness. Do not let impatience weaken your fidelity. The law is inexorable, but operates according to inner alignment, not external timing. Maintain your assumption with quiet certainty. Let every doubt be met with a gentle return to the feeling of fulfillment. Let every fear be dissolved by the knowledge that the desire is already accomplished. Your inner state governs the unfolding of outer events. Let your imagination be precise, vivid, and consistent. Every mental image, every feeling, every thought should reinforce the end. Do not entertain contradictions. The law obeys the dominant assumption. The stronger, more vivid, and more persistent the assumption, the more quickly it expresses outwardly. Your imagination is the creative workshop, consciousness is the artist. Act with calm authority in all circumstances. Let the outer world see the reflection of the fulfilled state in your demeanor. Let confidence, ease, and assurance be your natural expression. The universe responds to this energy, aligning circumstances, events, and people to mirror the inner state. Acting as if is not pretending, it is living from the end, it is embodying the fulfilled reality fully. Do not wait for signs or confirmations to validate your inner assumption. The signs will appear naturally when you remain faithful. The law operates independently of external validation. Your inner fidelity to the assumed state is sufficient. Life will conform, evidence will follow. The world cannot resist the assumption that is unwavering. Act in alignment with the end in all areas, your thoughts, your words, your actions. Let the feeling of fulfillment guide interactions, decisions, and choices. Let it shape your presence, your energy, and your focus. Every aspect of your being becomes a transmitter of the fulfilled state, influencing the outer world naturally and effortlessly. Be consistent. Every return to the assumed state strengthens it. Every reaffirmation of inner conviction accelerates manifestation. Persistence is not effort, it is loyalty to the unseen. The outer world must follow the inner truth. The law is absolute, immutable, and universal. It is not influenced by circumstances, people, or time. It responds only to consciousness. Do not fear delay or obstacles. They are temporary appearances that cannot alter the law. Each challenge is an opportunity to reinforce the assumption. Each moment of doubt is an invitation to return to certainty. Remain faithful inwardly. The outer world will inevitably reflect the inner reality. Let the feeling of having a ready received guide your every thought and action. Saturate your consciousness with joy, gratitude, satisfaction, and calm certainty. These feelings impress reality. They are the signal that activates the law. Words alone are insufficient. Thoughts alone are insufficient. Action alone is insufficient. Feeling as though it is done is the creative power itself. Carry this practice into every facet of your life. Relationships, career, health, finances, personal growth. Wherever you apply the assumption, the law responds. Act consistently, deliberately, and unwaveringly. Make living from the end a natural state of being, effortless and continuous. The outer world will conform without resistance. Remain vigilant, calm, and persistent. Monitor your inner state. Return to the assumption whenever doubt arises. Strengthen it, refine it, and embody it fully. Persistence in assumption outweighs all external effort. The outer world is secondary. The inner state is primary. Hold it, live it, and life aligns naturally. So now, remember this above all else, assume it is done. Act as if your desire is already fulfilled, and watch the world rearrange itself to reflect the reality you have chosen within. The outer world is nothing more than a mirror of your inner state, and when your inner world is aligned with fulfillment, success, abundance, love, or peace, there is no force that can prevent it from manifesting. Your imagination, your assumption, and your unwavering faith are the instruments through which life itself obeys. Do not wait, do not question, do not rely on evidence or proof. Live in the end, feel it as already accomplished, and carry that certainty into every thought, word, and action. The universe responds to the state of being, not to desire, effort, or struggle. What is assumed as real within you cannot fail to express itself without. Take this truth, make it your guiding principle, and commit to it fully. Let every doubt, every fear, every past limitation dissolve before the certainty of your assumed reality. Persist, embody, and remain faithful to the state of fulfillment, and you will witness the extraordinary power of your consciousness transforming your life. The moment you assume it is done and act as if, reality has no choice but to bend, shift, and flow in alignment with the truth you have embraced within. And so, go forth with confidence, clarity, and calm assurance. Live as though the end is already here. Feel it, act from it, and let the world reflect the magnificent reality you have claimed. The power to shape your life has always been within you, and now, fully understood and applied, nothing can stop the manifestation of your desire. Assume it is done, act as if, and watch your reality change.